background,
there.
Keith. I mean, that's
Yeah.
some excellent branding right there.
I like it because it's not virtual.
Alright, thank
We
you.
moved, so I took the old sign and threw it up in the conference room. And something about the conference room, if I go in here and shut the door, they leave me alone.
Who knew?
Have a virtual meeting.
I'm going to say good afternoon and welcome to the February 14th, 2024 Facilities Improvement Committee. I'd like to call the meeting to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, looking at today's agenda, we'll start with LMS project updates and then go into the discussion of GMS, and all the things that go with that.
Yep, so a couple of updates for the committee on LMS. So Jen, you don't even know this, but we had a meeting today with our HVAC team. Jen came into school on Monday morning and the heat was off in a section of the building. All of the thermostats were blank. The company was called, obviously, to respond. Room temperatures were about 63, I think. They responded, and basically they had to turn the unit off and back on again, and it came on and worked fine. And so the question that's been posed is, why is it going into off mode? And we don't have an answer to that question yet, but today's meeting was to address that. The other piece is that we have a meeting tomorrow with Kirk from Viking Controls. So Viking, and this is, Doug and I needed to make sure that we understood what was being covered under the project and then what is owner responsibility. Because Kirk did the controls as a subcontractor for NPI who installed the system. So Kirk is the one who programmed all the sequences and so forth. But that process doesn't involve a monitoring phase. It just involves a setup phase, and then if there's an issue, it's a warranty response phase to the issue. So our conversation tomorrow is we need you to be in warning alarm phase with us. So yes, you have your contract with the provider or the installer, but we need you to also contract with us so that when the heat goes off, an alarm is sent and there's a response to that. So we'll be engaging in that next. So I just want to thank LMS parents and staff for bearing with us while we work our way through it. It's, you know, a system that has some hiccups in it, and we're just trying to get all those resolved once and for all. I think we're there or pretty close with commissioning to commence over, or final commissioning to commence over February break. So that should put everything into play.
The lights, they're adding the 5 switches that were on back order. The last one just came in this week, I believe is what the email said today or yesterday. So we had several switches that in the interim of installing the lights and installing the switches went awry, and they're part of the programming components, and all of those are in and should be installed.
And the other piece is, so there are 2 other things happening at LMS over February break. So the circuit surge protectors, which were, if you remember, we voted to add that in to make sure that we had protection for all the equipment there. And that will be installed. So those switches that finally come in, they'll be done over February break. That is going to involve, Jen, a temporary power down because they have to turn it off to install. And then unrelated to that, the LMS Wi-Fi update is also going to be occurring over February break. So they will be there with, Chris is contracted with a company to come in and install that. And that's what gets LMS up to the standard of CHS and GMS. So coming off February break, all of these pieces should be buttoned up, and we'll have a game plan hopefully with Viking so that, you know, at the high school, if a boiler goes down, we get an alert, and we need to make sure that we have the same thing happening at LMS.
I thought Dave Ross was on that system, so that in any alarm he was receiving.
There have been challenges with it getting to Dave, and so we had, a couple of years ago, we contracted with Viking to provide that service to make sure because Dave was getting alerts, but then he was not as familiar with how to respond to those. So it made sense to just contract with the company, because when Viking gets the alert, they know exactly how to respond. That's what they do. They monitor systems for places, as districts and businesses. So that's what we have in place. I think it's in place at GMS also, but it's not as sophisticated of a system by any stretch,
So who gets notified then on an alarm that Viking receives?
The Viking has a service, that's what they provide, that's a service that they get. They get the
Viking,
alarm.
yeah, notifies myself and Dave.
Okay, so
And
you are
sometimes it's a
notified.
notification to Dave to go check something, sometimes it's a notification that, they did something internally to fix it, and sometimes it's that they need to bring out a tech to fix it as well. So one of the reasons to go with Viking is that Dave is, the head of buildings and grounds, which is a department that is less, I don't know, right around 50%, occupied with staff. So there's different times in the last year where Dave found himself out on a lawnmower for 40 hours a week instead of in the building. So if, and hopefully when we can get kind of fully staffed, that would be a different discussion as far as what does that open up for Dave to kind of be checking out the system where we're paying Viking to do it right now.
Anything else from LMS?
Any questions about LMS? So let me talk about solar, I'm sorry. So we are, today at 6:30 in the morning, the company that's gonna install the solar panels was at the school, up on the roof. The question that had come from the town, building inspector was that he wanted verification that when everything was all done, that the solar array arrangement was not gonna interfere with any equipment that was up there. So in other words, you're not putting it over a vent pipe or what have you. So they were there today to do one last mapping double check to make sure that they had on their plans every single item that's on that roof. So that should lead to a complete response to the town of the questions that have been asked, and then we will await the town issuance of the permit. So they're ready to go as soon as we get the permit, but we did have, I want to say there were 4 questions that came from the building inspector, and they should all be answered by the end of the week or early next week.
And that's different from the battery packs. This is the solar panels only, not the battery storage facilities.
Correct. Yep. So this will allow the array to be installed and connected and begin to produce electricity without the battery buffering, and then that will come in the summer, is the projected date.
And we're still waiting for the permits before we can schedule the installation.
We're waiting for the permit for the array, because we've separated into 2 projects, and then we're gonna have to do permits for the battery. That'll be a separate permitting process.
Anything else? I think that about covers LMS.
I think that covers LMS.
On to GMS. So, do you wanna?
Yeah,
do you wanna
so,
start with-
obviously we had deliberative on Saturday, and, from there, we just kinda entered the phase of post-deliberative, pre-vote, which is really, we've said we've done a lot of work on, informing and educating, and while we're still gonna continue to inform and educate, we're also, switching into a kind of, a motivation and encouragement campaign. So we have a few things that we're working on to that level. We have, contract with a videographer who is actually coming out to GMS tomorrow, from about 3:30 to 5. And he's gonna be, taking some shots of the building, as well as collecting voiceovers, testimonials, and things like that. He is actually a videographer who specializes in real estate videos. He's the one who realtors usually hire to, do the kind of walkthroughs of the house and put something together. So he has an expertise in highlighting features. usually the opposite. He's usually highlighting the positive features, but he'll be able to highlight the current conditions. So that's happening tomorrow, and we also there are a few people who I think are vital voices to those videos who aren't able to make it. So we're going to schedule another time for him to come out just to maybe collect some facial testimonials as well as some voiceovers. We've been working on a one-pager that we hope to send out to every household in Litchfield. I threw some stuff together, and then Tina took it and completely changed it. So
That was okay.
it was perfect.
Is
I
this
just
the one
needed
you
to,
did
I,
in
like I said, I
Canva?
needed to throw noodles against the wall.
I'm just replying to text, so.
Oh, okay.
I just needed to throw stuff up there, and then Tina got it. So I'm glad that she did that, because that was like 11 o'clock at night kind of brain,
Oh,
just to
okay.
get something up there. So Brian, I don't know if this got passed down to you. This is a copy of this. The other thing is that we are working on putting together a joint effort along with the LEA and LSSA, as well as all the bonds, to do kind of a support your schools rally. And that's kind of coming together for Thursday, March 7th, I believe is the date. Just kind of an after school kind of way to bring the community together in support of the education articles, as well as one last time for anyone who has it, we'll advertise it out, but that's also one last time for anyone who is unfamiliar with the facilities at GMS. So in addition to having whatever ice cream, pizza for the kids, you know, fun and games, also for any citizen who's still yet curious, we'll also offer some tours and kind of a peek inside the building.
What date is that, Dan?
We haven't finalized it yet, but in working with the LEA and the LSSA, it looked like Thursday, March 7th, was kind of coalescing around that kind of date. It's kind of that final push that week before to just kind of drum up some interest. So I think in terms of this board, we'd like everyone here to just kind of take a glance at that one pager. Cosmetic feedback, is it too much? Does it not draw your eyes in? Is there too much information? Is there not enough information? Is there crucial pieces that are missing? And I guess I can.
Question I have on it is,
Yeah.
what's the intent? So is this
This is
being
purely for
mailed home?
information. Yeah.
I
so
hope
it-
this is the mailer to every.
So we have to leave room for the mailing information on it, right? So it's,
Oh, okay.
When you fold it?
Oh no, we're thinking folding stuff.
and then stuffing it
Yeah.
in an envelope
It-
and mailing it that way?
Yeah, the way to get the most information in. We kind of talk about doing a postcard, and we're like, I don't know if we can get everything we need to on a postcard.
Right.
Well, usually I think what Mike's talking about, if you fold it like this, then usually this is blank with the address.
Yep.
Okay.
Those-
Maybe take some things
I'm
out,
not sure if,
or make them smaller.
yeah, just,
When we sent the flyer on LMS, remember there was a ton of misinformation. We wanted to make sure that we got the
Right.
facts out there. And so, we did that. I have that template, because
It's a page and a half of the mail.
yeah, and
Okay.
it's just like you have to, it has to, there's certain wording that you have to have for the everyday direct mail, which is the cheapest way to do it,
Yeah.
because it just goes to every household in Litchfield.
Okay.
Okay.
But you could also make this longer, it could be a little bit longer, and then I have that template. Let me get
Okay.
you what it needs to say.
Yep. This was
It saves
purely
hours of
just,
folding and stuffing too.
Well, and the other thing is, it's cheap, because
Yeah.
if you do, you're paying first-class mail times
Right.
however many households there are,
Yeah.
versus the other way, the everyday direct mail, it's bulk, and it's just
Okay,
23 cents, or it's a lot less
so
expensive.
we can shrink it down to a page and a half.
yeah, I'm
That way
wondering
we
if
have
Canva
the
even
mailer,
has a
the label
template.
page, basically. Okay.
Canva does have a template for that as well, and you could do that, if I were thinking of this, Canva-y, cause
Yeah,
That
this
might
was
be
done on
my-
Canva.
that might be my favorite place to work.
Well, that's, turns out it's really easy to use, so.
Putting this part on the back side of the envelope so that you're seeing like those quick hit points.
Yeah.
And then the mailer information, and then on the inside having the details, I think would be,
And I think I'll have to check, because I think you can still get away with some images even on the mailer.
You can.
Image of
So-
it's things in the corner, just so long as you have the place for the postage, place return address, and the face there.
And I think you could, you could have this there, and then if I remember correctly, because it could be just the mailing information in that black box, so then this information could be over here
Okay.
as, vote
Certainly
Tuesday, March.
resize things
Yep.
and-
Yeah,
and
I'll
shuffle
show,
it around.
I'll show you what we got away with last time, and then,
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then one other, can I just react to one
Yeah.
thing? Because we don't want to be accused of
Right.
presenting any misinformation.
Yeah.
So the state aid, the 5.6 million, is not a quarter of
I know, it's not.
38.
That was a Canva graphic that I just grabbed because it was orange.
And so,
It's
but,
not to scale.
but when we show it as a pie graph, it looks like
Yeah,
a quarter
I don't
of
know
it
if we
is.
can
And
edit
it's,
those graphics. See
Actually, no, what we can do is, you
Yeah.
can play around with Google Sheets, and you can actually just make a new pie graph and then
That's something I
pull
don't
it
know
over.
how to do. So
Then it'll
that's all
actually,
good.
then it'll actually be
Yeah.
proportional.
That's fine.
You can also do that in Canva. There's an AI for that.
Okay.
Okay.
you may want to
AI
not,
for everything.
you may want to share the same information, not put it as a pie graph. Because the
Sure.
pie graph, you know, it does a proportional piece, and maybe that's not the right answer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, just facts, like the way you list it, so.
Yep. This was.
And Tina, what's this thing? This, do you?
Oh, that's from the graph. I could, you know what that is? That's the key for.
It
I
is.
noticed
I
that it's the
couldn't-
key for the.
Yeah,
It just.
I couldn't cut
Crop
that
it.
image. I couldn't crop that out of
Yeah.
the image. So that's, yeah. I put the chart, you know, on the towards the front, and then I sank that backwards, but it's still up here. So
You have
I'm sure there's
color
a way to do
overlay.
that too.
Image overlay.
I was playing with overlays today to get
Oh, okay.
tape on top of the picture and not behind the picture, and I got it. I figured it out, but
Problem is, once it's the bottom, it's disappeared, and you gotta move the box and pull it back.
Yep, that's all that is.
Can I make a suggestion under the three main concerns? I'd reorder them,
Okay.
and I'd maybe not change it, and I'd change the middle one, it says lack of adequate space. You know, call it, you know, educational deficiencies or something like that.
Okay.
I really think you need to focus on the fact that the building doesn't satisfy your educational needs.
Insufficient learning environment.
Whatever you want to
Okay.
call it, you know, impacts, you know, insufficient learning space,
Okay.
or,
I think
Inadequate.
inadequate space is stronger than the environment.
How about inadequate
enough room.
learning space?
I think, yeah, using the word education or learning, because that's the key of the school too.
inadequate learning environment.
I think environment goes more towards the. You're talking
Climate.
about physical.
So we're talking about with the videos.
how about
which was-
inadequate educational space?
So just to put, we were talking about the videos, which was that. So we're going through videos,
Yeah.
and when we wanted to talk about the space being the building and the structure. So we could focus on the facilities, but then we also wanted to talk about, and we start the environment, and that's just like what's it like to live, work, and learn in there. So we kind of had, when we said space, we're talking about the building, and we're talking about environment, we're talking about what it's like to be in there. So to differentiate that, so without repeating the word space or without repeating the word environment, have one go to the facilities and one go to the environment. So those are the kind of the three videos that we're thinking, but I'm rambling now.
Right, just, I would suggest inadequate educational space,
Okay.
and that should be the first thing. And then, you know, failing structures and systems, and still it's how that impacts education.
I agree with you.
And that's, because that's really what finally, and, you know, I'm sorry to be a broken record, but it really was the day that I toured with you, Dan, and the people that were telling me, you know, in particular, I keep coming back to I can't remember the lady's name that come out and spoke to us from the Special Services Group. And we stood in the doorway there, and she says, look, there's 4 of us in here, I think that was the number.
Yeah.
And we can't do what we're here to do because we have no space to do it. And that impacts, you know, whether it's, you know, trying to take kids that could do, you know, have, you know, I know what you can use for wording now, but people could use a little added,
Yeah, learning difficulties or anything
well,
like that.
not even disability, we'll call it gifted, or whatever.
Yeah.
Advanced learning.
Yeah.
And then tutoring that, you know, for sections, and then support for people that need to catch up. And I think that, and then the other one that really focused my attention was the when we went into where the nursing station is, and then I'll call it, is it the intervention room? You know, where they're co-located together, is that, you know, where the lady there was talking about if there's kids that are needing some assistance that come out of the classroom? I don't know what you call that room.
You mean the OT room and then the preschool room over
What-
in the corner, or?
No, it's the same room that, it's, you know how the nursing station and then the two women that were in that shared space, but just went around.
Where your counselor's office is?
Oh, yes, you mean right behind the office, so we have it's the social worker and the school counselor?
No, it was the nursing, again, maybe.
The health office is across from the main office, and that's the old locker room.
Yeah, and then there wasn't, in that same thing, there was two ladies in there, but they had two different, she was explaining to me, this is where you bring kids if they're having problems in a classroom.
So yeah, that's behind the office. That's
I'm
it's-
sorry.
Yeah, so it's
I thought they were the
Have the
same.
nurse-
they actually share the back wall of my office, but that's the school counselor and the social worker, and
Okay.
what they have is it's a converted office into these small little mini spaces that two and then sometimes three people share, and so our school counselor's office, if you will, looks like the ante room of the section because it's just this kind of like waiting room area, and there's a tiny little closet or room off there. There's one space to do groups, and then there's a small office. Now, if they're both servicing a lunch group, there's no place to have two groups in there. You can have a group and a kid. You can have a kid and it's just kind of all just.
Well, it was, I can't, maybe I've got the,
Yeah, because right up in the nurse's office is the meal room, then a conference room.
okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking the nurses in this other, I call it the intervention
Yeah.
table, you know, she was showing us that, you know, bring in different things and distract the kids, try to
Yeah.
calm them down.
Yeah.
You know, try to reorient them towards.
Yeah.
the-
To regulate them. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That actually made more impact on me than anything else. And so, and the fact that they didn't have the room to do it, and in an environment that would, you know, lend itself to actually helping to the maximum what they were trying to do. And then the other day, when there was discussion about needing an additional counselor, you know, obviously there's no space for somebody to function.
Right.
So, to me, that's what sold me on this building's inadequate. So the first thing we've got to do is this building needs to be expanded somehow. So that's why the space is inadequate for educational purposes. Maybe that's it. Space is inadequate for educational purposes.
So actually, hearing what you said, so now I have three main concerns: inadequate educational and learning environment,
Yeah,
failing structures and systems, safety proximity to 3A.
yeah, you could just put, I would just put safety concerns.
Yeah.
Because
In the next 3A is just one of them, there's many
True.
more
Yeah.
safety concerns.
Lack of,
I wouldn't highlight 3A because it's, you know,
just
it's an
one.
issue, but it's not, you know, we're not gonna spend $40 million to solve 3A. There, you know, you brought, you know, we mentioned before, just the moving between the portables is an issue for control of the kids, but it exposes them as well. So that's a safety issue. So,
Do we think putting major safety concerns is too inflammatory?
no, I would just, yeah, I think it's trying to,
So inadequate educational learning environment, failing structures and systems, major safety concerns.
correct.
It starts with an adjective on all three, that's why.
numerous.
I was gonna say.
Oh,
numerous.
numerous.
better
safety
in-
concerns?
Instead of major.
How about
'cause
multiple?
It's not as multiple,
Okay.
countless.
Endless.
I like the safety concerns, because in your bullets below, you talk about all classes in one building being a positive.
Yeah.
As well as new site and traffic plan is distance from state highway, again, a positive. So it's multiple things that you're solving
Yep.
by pushing the school back and creating.
Are you
I
on the
almost
draft?
wonder if you did a counter, like a table where it was, here are the arguments,
So,
and then the balance on the other side of how the new school addresses the
Right.
counters.
so originally I had included, instead of those bullet points, which I tried to frame in a positive way, I don't know if that's less or more effective, than saying what's wrong. But anyway, so originally I had, if you, oh, you don't see it, because I'm online. Originally I had a section, why a new Litchfield Elementary School is the best solution for our town. I put in the other options, the renovate and add on, and the repairs as needed, or, quote unquote, do nothing.
Yeah, I'm more thinking of like the orange section is here,
Yeah,
of how does the new elementary school address failing structures and systems?
yes,
How does the new, I'm going by what's on here, I know you just edited those, but how does the new building address the adequate space concerns? How does the new building address the multiple safety concerns? So if you have these are the counter arguments of why it's needed, and then here are the
put them
responses
into 3
up to why.
columns or
Right.
something, yeah. Yep, we can do that, it's just tight for,
In fact,
That
what
many
I'd
words.
actually do is, if you read this, I thought this was addressing this per se, but I didn't read this line here.
okay,
This is what LMS, or the new building did. I'd suggest you make these bullet points and then take this and line it up with the category you're trying to address up here.
okay,
And then this becomes one continuous thing.
Yeah.
And it links it, I think, better.
I'm gonna share it with you if you wanna project it, or,
This, yeah,
yeah,
perfect.
But I really, in the phrasing here is, the new building provides, special services
Yeah.
sites, counseling, private counseling, or what was the word you used? Not counseling and,
School counseling and social work. Student
Yeah,
support. It's a
yeah.
student support suite is what it's
Yeah.
going to be referred to as.
yeah.
And also, by the way, not to mention too, with the new building, not only is it adequately sized, but it's centrally located. So you went on a tour. Can you imagine what the walk is to get there if you're in the first grade wing? If you remember how far that went
Right,
down, but I
yeah.
mean that's
and those
a
are
long
both
walk of
included in this.
dysregulation.
I included both of those points in the bullet points.
So that would be my 2 cents on those.
So present them with the counters.
yeah, but I don't know if it's
I mean,
also,
present the concerns with the solutions together.
Yes. In fact, that's what I always was taught when we did presentations. It's like, problem, issue, and then how is our company gonna solve that?
Okay.
And that's what we focused on. Each slide started out with an issue, that the client
Yeah.
needed to, they're sitting there, know what their issues are. It tells you, first of all, we know what your problems are, and secondly, this is how we're gonna solve it.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree, I don't know how we fit that onto a front and a back.
No, but I think if you just combine these 2 functions
Or
into
does
that.
this go on the website? I mean,
The Canva wizard's gonna do her thing.
okay.
I was
talking about 3 columns almost, right?
I was gonna make a copy so I don't kill the one you have.
Yeah, that's fine, and I'm not completely, my heart isn't set on this, this is literally
Well,
what I could figure out today.
If you envision I'm thinking like a burst of problem, inadequate education place, problem, problem 1, problem 2, problem 3, and then you have that, those are popping down the left side, and then on the right side you have all the same bullet points that you have
Okay,
here. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Now show me your image, Jen. Just do your thing.
I don't want to tweak the one you have. I'm going to make a
No,
copy
you
of
need
it.
to understand that Tina overwrote the embarrassment that I had created at first. So
I'm looking at, actually,
I tried to clump them together,
so visually,
my problem.
if you look at this right here, this template,
Wait a minute, which template? Because I have it up there.
scroll down,
Tell me where it is.
keep scrolling. It's got this one.
Okay,
Okay,
So see, if you had something like this,
oh, it's a ladder image.
where you have these are your
Concerns.
problems,
Yep.
and you put 3 counters on that side that are your solutions.
okay.
keep it orange, you can make it whatever it is, but it allows you to still have those images in place, and then you have, and I might even make, you know, maybe not as neat and square as that, I might make them a little more punchy and in your face.
We didn't mention this in terms of like how we're targeting the week after, for that first week in March, to mail this out. Because we're now in the, like, if we produce this and mailed it, it's gonna like go out and it's just gonna sit in the pile of everyone's February vacation mail when half the town goes to Turks and Caicos.
No, I agree, that's the right timing.
Yeah, right. So if we maybe get in the mail February vacation, you know, like send it out that week, and then it's hitting mailboxes Monday or Tuesday of that first
Does
week
that
of
make
March.
sense?
No, that's exactly the right timing.
Yeah.
And the reality is this year, there is a week after
Yeah.
February vacation. We
Right.
don't normally have that. We usually return and vote.
Yeah.
So we should make sure that, let people get back into school mode,
And as well as deliberative was attended and as many signs are popping up in town, people aren't even thinking about an election usually until the week before. So hit them while it's front brain.
Can we, skip to the comment, or the sections on the bottom there, staying at GMS?
Dan had put that cute little tiger there, so.
I love it.
He looks so happy.
He does,
What's the tiger's name again?
Griffey.
Griffey says.
Griffey should have
Used
some
to be
money bags in
Stripes.
his hands.
But Stripes retired.
Oh,
The Stripes need
Is
to
that the
retire.
mascot?
yeah,
But, oh,
GMS Tigers,
We're all cats now around.
yeah,
We got a lynx, a cougar, and a tiger.
the tiger.
I actually saw a cougar in town this summer.
If you report that to the state, they'll tell you you were imagining things.
I actually sent in a report, never heard back from him.
Correct. I had one cross the road in front of me and filed a report, and they were like, nope, there are no cougars in New Hampshire.
I saw one too.
And I'm like, I saw it with my own 2 eyes, so you
My
can,
wife was there with me, so anyway.
I was on NPR explaining my cougar story. It was right by the Red Barn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Everybody knows where the Red Barn is in Concord, so. Anyway,
This was right in town. This was, the power line on 3A, just north of Wilson's Farm is.
I do.
It crossed the power line in front of us. And by the time it was only 30 feet from us when we went by it.
I was 200 yards from the same power lines in Concord.
Yeah.
Saying,
Yeah.
that's a corridor,
Yep. they followed
Cougar
the-
Highway.
Maybe the same guy.
Cougar.
Alright, I'm gonna rein this discussion back in. So,
Why? We're having so much fun.
How does that work?
so my thought was, we know that GMS is horribly inefficient and it's expensive to maintain that building. So by putting GMS costs, staying there and staying in that building is not a cheaper option, in the long run. I thought we could point out different aspects of money that we have put into GMS since, going back to as long as we have.
But the way I
records.
look at it, Tina, the
Yeah.
thing is there's so many components in that school right now that need to be replaced.
Yeah,
And this doesn't really capture it. What I'm looking at is 1.4 million in repairs since 2009, so over 15 years, I mean, that's all you've spent. So it
Right.
doesn't really
but we
seem
can
like.
add a bullet point to, how much it will cost us to repair all the systems. I mean, that speaks back to the renovation and additions option.
We actually don't know that figure, do we?
What's that?
What the repair costs are?
Well, we have an estimate from a few years back as far as, it was a report that was done on all the components and their lifespan
Right.
and cost of repair, but that
was
Turner
2016
report
or
is like
something.
so many years old right
Yeah.
now.
We could freshen those numbers up, guys.
Yeah,
But then, the fuel costs,
well, that you can get, I mean, that'll be an actual. And maybe if you do refresh those numbers as far as repairs needed
Right.
for replacement parts,
yeah,
and, and you put another line, anticipated repairs for the next 5 years is like
Right.
$8 million, something like that. I mean, cause most of that building's gonna start failing.
yeah.
Well,
Well, I think.
I
that-
think if these numbers stay where they are right here, that's not selling point.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Over 15 years, you only spent 1.4 million.
Right.
Yes, so that's
Yeah.
pretty cheap. Oh, okay, we'll do $100,000 a year.
But what was that fixing? That was only fixing the
Putting Band-Aids here and there.
day-to-day, you know,
Yeah.
sticking
That's
a finger in the
windows.
dam
Is that
before it
window
explodes.
replacements, security upgrades?
No, I think part of it,
Those.
I think part of it went to roof fixture at some point.
Oh, I'm sure it did, yeah.
Yeah, part of it went to, I mean, but some asbestos removal type of thing.
Right.
Did some under drains and,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of it went to just boiler repairs.
Right, and even a simple, not a simple repair, but a major repair that was like postponed is the asbestos removal in the gym.
Yep.
One of them, is not removal, but, capsuling it.
Yep.
Right, because they decided not to, because why put any more money into it if there's a possibility of a new school down the road?
Right. So is it worth having this kind of section in there, but just change what we include or don't include?
I think you can almost eliminate that, and that could
who
be a space.
who was it
for
that
your
mentioned you
mailing.
could refresh numbers? Did I hear somebody say we could refresh?
so
them?
From the Turner report.
Keith, who is from Bonnet Page and Stone, said we could update those numbers from the Turner report. The other thing is, are we helping ourselves by trying to put numbers in versus if we just say, you know, lack of insulation causes, high energy costs? You know, are we better
Right.
off just describing it than trying to quantify it? Like, the number is in response to, I think that's John Latch's question, right? That Doug produced a 1.4 million. But now, we've already done what the next thing is, well, what was that spent on? And then some of us would judge that as not a lot, some would say, why did we spend any of it on
But in
that
that
building?
timeframe too, we had the rental on the portable classrooms, the original portable classrooms, right? We were paying rental fees every year until we bought them outright. And then we had the purchase cost for the additional portables when we added full day K. So I know, while that repairs and maintenance number looks not impressive, I think there's a lot more that actually went into, you know, meeting our needs at the current GMS, but I also realize that real estate on this flyer is at a premium, so.
What I looked at too is that and even when I got Doug's spreadsheet too, is that there are unknown monetary costs, and then there are non-monetary costs of staying in.
Yeah,
The unknown monetary costs that we talk about, things like, it's hard to quantify how much of our staff absenteeism is based on the building
Right.
and will be improved with a better
Right.
learning environment. There is the
it's loss of learning time.
there's the loss of learning time through travel, you know, so there's so much, and I know because this is a big number, and I appreciate that this does come down to dollars and cents, but there is also such a huge aspect of it that can't be brought down to dollars.
And I think a lot of what you're saying, Dan, falls into one of your bullets up top, the inadequate space.
And I remember Kyle talking about that there are savings too. For instance, this is just such a minor detail, but I remember this thinking, which is that right now we have that commercial grade vinyl tile that every summer needs to be stripped and waxed. Well, when you build a new building, you just don't put in that. You put in an alternative, and now there's savings that can be found in custodial. So there are just custodial costs that are put into just maintaining and upkeeping the building that may be removed. So I would, if something had to go on this because we have to
Yeah.
create the mailer sheet, I would
Take that
remove
out.
that bottom section.
So this made me think of something, and Kyle would be the one to answer this. You know, you go into like places like BJ's now and grocery stores,
Yeah.
they don't even put floors down.
No.
Have you seen those in schools?
Keith, that's really for you, it's like that polished
Yeah.
concrete, I mean,
Yep, a lot of folks start out wanting that. The trouble is it costs a little more than what Kyle's proposing is, rather than a VCT, a vinyl composite tile, more like it still is the 12 by 12, but there's no more wax. It's just a rider for the hallways,
That's what I'm talking
puts
about.
down water, takes it up. That polished concrete runs $7, $8, $9 a square foot, and the LVT is $650. VCT is about $325, but it comes with those significant maintenance costs.
so the polished concrete is that expensive, Keith?
Is more just because the nature of the product. It's labor intensive to polish the concrete to that level. It's a great product. And we often run it both ways, Michael, where we're maybe an alternate or something like that. It works great. It's just, it is a little more expensive.
I gotta imagine too that in terms of a classroom, acoustically, it's
Yeah.
not
Well, I was thinking,
ideal.
where you could just limit it to like hallways, that type of thing.
Well, and
I just
I
think
would,
it
I
would
would
be
want to
less.
see it too, because I remember when early on in the project, and we were looking at different school designs, and we looked at some of the new elementary schools in Concord that they built, and they built it with that tubed HVAC, that exposed HVAC tube, and even though it's an elementary school, and you look down and you feel a little bit of elementary school, you look up and you think
Industrial.
Costco,
Yeah,
BJ's. It just had that like.
yeah.
They converted a warehouse to make this school, and so it wasn't as soft and
Yeah.
again, these are aesthetics, and of course, we're not gonna get all the aesthetics we want because certain things are gonna be cost away. So, that's a long way of saying that in looking at this, if we have to find space, I think that staying at GMS would be my vote for what to remove.
I think your mailing label would fit there perfectly.
What was, do we own the portables that are out there now?
Yes.
We do, yep.
We own the portables and we own the Jersey barriers. I know that because we painted them and I had to find out.
But those portables you can end up selling back.
The new ones, anyway.
They
They'll take the old ones?
They
I mean,
took-
they were used.
they
on
took the
gun.
ones from LMS
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
they
Even
rehabbed
if they don't
them,
reuse them, they'll strip them further.
they
Yeah.
rehabbed them and sent them back to another school.
Yeah, these
So,
still definitely they would buy back, or someone would buy them.
absolutely would. All right, oh, hang on, I'm trying to move it and I'm in the wrong slide. Is there anything else about the flyer?
Again, I'll say to the committee that, we have a little time, so take it home and digest it and just
Play around
include,
with it.
I would say, Tina and I, if you have anything, just email it to us and we'll incorporate it into the design. Or
Can I-
apparently Jen, who's our
Or
designer.
General, because she's working on it already.
On the time is now,
Yeah,
I don't know if I still have it. In my little speech from the floor there, I don't know if I still kept it or not. Actually had,
These were
There it
from
is.
one of our slides, one of Matt's slides from deliberative.
when I was sitting there trying to say, how can I, present this quickly, I ended up with 4 points, and if you remember, they were this: the educational constraints, special service intervention in the nursing, portables, moving in between lost time and hazmat. And then the other constraint on education is just the conditions of the room, the environmental and the physical. And then, the building condition itself, we have the HVAC, lack of insulation, doors and windows, and the roof all need to be replaced. And then the third thing is, at this point, it's the lowest likely cost to move forward now. We have opportunity for state aid that will go away for the foreseeable future. The bond interest right now is likely the lowest that we'll have in the foreseeable future. And the other thing is that we're staged to get a guaranteed maximum price for construction. And that's important for me as a taxpayer, is, okay, I'm not gonna pay more than I'm being asked. I don't want, no disrespect, but, we don't get into a situation that's occurred over the last couple of years. And then finally, it resolves, a number of issues, which is the continuing distraction of what do we do with GMS, particularly with new superintendent coming on board. It distracts from the school board's function of education. You don't want to be a building committee the rest of your life. And the expenditures are then evened out, we know what they will be. And then finally, the resiliency, that we will have a long-term understanding of what the maintenance of the new building is. And then, quite truthfully, it allows us then to focus toward Campbell and LMS, who now are, they're an aging building as well. And they will be soon in line for some major rehabs.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's hope LMS is not. I mean, that's what we've been telling people, that it's good for a while now.
And I think the time is now, and
Yeah.
maybe
CHS.
we can
Once we
fit this
tweak
in, which is that
I mean, you can have that if you want, however. it makes
you
a
may
difference.
not like the number, and I understand that. But of everything we've talked about, it is in fact the most predictable number. This is the most solid, because I could tell you that we can then chart out the cost of it for the next 20 years. Like, this is how much it's going to cost, as opposed to if we do nothing, I don't know what's going to go next year. I don't know what it's going to cost. Like, not only do we not know what it's going to cost to do this again, we cannot predict the number to keep GMS alive, because we just don't know what's going to happen. This is the most predictable number, and I think that's what you were trying to say, Ron, which is that it's
So if you
just.
scroll down, Mike, to page 3, that's the, stuff I had typed up and included, and then,
Oh yeah, I didn't print it off for everyone. I wanted to give them what the flyer kind of looked like.
yeah, so I had added a section for why, which speaks to the, this option is the most predictable
Mm-hmm.
option and costs potentially costs the least amount over the life cycle
Yeah.
of the building. So I had some points in there that we can draw from.
Who did the Imagine a School thing,
That was from Dan's deliberative, his speech at deliberative.
speech?
And actually, I took the bullet points up above from Imagine a School Where, and I kind of just reworded them as the new school will provide. And,
Did I share my speech? Did you cut and paste that out of there? Or
yeah,
did
you shared it with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
You anchored us well on music. The problem with the music analogy is, I know those songs, and I couldn't figure out which one was from the 30s. You should have had like Charlie Chaplin movies or something.
Yeah.
Would have been like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do you have
Silent
those
movie.
images
Silent movie.
somewhere?
Yes, I got them from the deliberative slides.
I don't know that I have those.
Are those posted?
What is it?
what's that?
The slides from deliberative?
There.
The image,
They
I can
are.
send you the images too.
I just cut and paste
There's
those.
2 slides. Doug, are there 2 presentations now? Did you update the one? There was one we used on Saturday, and then I feel like there was one that I had 2 of them open.
The slide deck on Saturday, we were editing on stage.
Oh, yeah.
So
There were
we
some
added in the
slides.
proposed amendments, and then the one that passed, we left in.
Okay.
And the one that failed, we noted, this failed.
Okay.
But it's all there as part of the slideshow now,
Yeah.
so it's one deck.
Okay.
I was really debating whether to delete the ones that failed, but I thought they told the story of
Yep.
deliberative, so.
If you're gonna use this,
Table?
table, thank you. It ought to show a total of all these.
Yeah, agreed. That was a cut and paste job. It wasn't on the slide. But we should have the maximum, the price that's in the warrant, the 44 million.
Yep.
So I'm
Well,
just gonna write update with totals.
that won't equal 44, because this is the.
It'll
includes
equal
interest.
51 million.
51, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it should be total, well, you can leave it cost, but it's estimated.
And then with that, do you think it's important to mention that the staggered bond issue
Saves.
saves the 10.782,
Yeah, that can just be a
whatever,
quick little
the one
Yeah.
line?
phased funding.
Is it worth it on a mailer to use space to describe that the staggered bond is the better option and saves money over than the single 30-year?
Well, you can say it as easily as we will use a staggered bond to allow capturing of the lowest likely interest rates.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's in the text. So
Going back to Ron's past point, I think we want to use the word estimated when we
Yes,
talk about these
I agree.
costs. Because we don't know the interest rate,
Yep.
and we're not locked in.
Yep, I agree.
Predicted or just,
Mm-hmm.
something.
And I don't really know if you need to get into, like, we're gonna do a staggered bond to save $10 million. I would think that people would, at least you would hope that people would think that you've done your due diligence and you're presenting a bond structure that's going to be the least costly to the taxpayers.
agree.
But I think there's worth a one line that
Yeah.
indicates that we don't just say we're doing due diligence, that due diligence has been done, meaning that a staggered bond method
Will
is
save.
good, will save an estimated 10 point.
You could say a staggered, we will utilize a staggered bond approach
In order
to
to-
capture the anticipated lowest interest rate possible.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Well, it's not just the lowest interest rate, but it's also,
Lowest interest-
it's also the
yeah.
savings of millions of dollars by doing
Kevin,
it
come up
that
there.
way.
The lowest interest rate and a potential for 10.5.
For the lowest
whatever.
potential cost.
Yeah, okay.
Just say for the lowest potential cost.
We're reviewing the handout. We verbally have suggested a ton of things. Just, if I may, because you know this is all critical friend
Right.
feedback, right?
Yeah.
But my other gut reaction is I love the branding of the orange. I think, selecting the two pictures that you did, I think they really tell the story because you get the sense of sprawl. You see the proximity to the highway in that top photo. I also am struck by the dark entrance, which
Yeah.
I think about our other two schools and they're welcoming and warm, and then here you're like stepping into the spooky world cave or something.
It
It's
blends right into,
weird.
it blends right into the sign, cause it reminds me of a Halloween shop every single time I look at that thing.
It's a nice environment for rodents and birds who like to nest there.
Yes, they
You know what I
do.
would, also on those pictures, I think there'd be more impact if these pictures were together with these pictures.
Yeah, originally when I started with, this is the current situation on the front, and then
Before
the
and
solutions on the
after
back.
is what it's referring
But
to
I
as a good way of doing it.
You know, now that we have, that the new building will on the front, the new building pictures make
In
sense.
fact, what you might wanna suggest, if you're trying to, do this fold, the pictures and stuff could be on the outside, of the fold.
Yeah, address on one side, pictures on the other.
Well, yeah, the pictures, like, group here together.
Yeah.
With a, whatever you want for a heading,
Yeah.
New school solves GMS issues. And okay, there's the old and there's the new. And then inside, the text is then focused on the inside.
I think in
I
order
think
just
the
to move the
pictures-
conversation forward, like a couple more comments, I think just send us the email and then we will send out maybe draft number 2 early next week to this committee for some more feedback.
Yeah, my first thought was by putting all the pictures on one page, then the other side of the page is just all verbiage and.
Yeah, you
and
don't want that.
Right, the pictures break up the verbiage and the bullet points.
And I think you don't wanna show trees that are not there.
Where's that?
The whole tree system, the field and everything back there, there's no
real
trees in this corner here at all,
Oh, on the
Yeah.
new,
okay?
Yeah.
We don't, this is a farm community, we cut them down.
can't fix that.
Can I shift us to one other piece, which is I tested with my camera, so the QR code
Yeah.
goes directly to reimagining. Can we spend a few minutes
Yes, please.
reviewing that and give us some direction? Because before we put this in everybody's hands, I think we have to figure out exactly what we want there. And honestly, it's lacking maintenance, so if I may go to it, hang on, I gotta figure out how I get to it.
My initial thought on that is, going back to what I first said, which is
On
that
my computer though.
we're making the switch from informing and convincing and encouraging and motivating. I still think it's the landing place for the feasibility study and all that work. I don't think that's the prominent feature. I think that's the secondary. I think the prominent is gonna be as we create these videos and put them on our social media,
Pictures.
that's also where
Yeah.
they live. I think right now, perhaps what should be prominent there is that should be where the deliberative slides live. So if you click on that and go to the Reimagining GMS website, I think the first thing that pops up is,
Fix that.
We're there. Hang on, let me,
Homepage.
yeah,
should I share this with everybody, so? Hang on a minute, let me go back here, sorry folks,
Everyone can just scan it with their phones if you like.
this is
I'll
true.
look at, up there.
There All right, so that's now being shared with our friends at
Oh,
home, and I'm back on it. So, and by the way, Kevin, these trees don't exist any longer. That's an old picture. They've been cut down. So the project mission, we've got this video, which is not a bad walkthrough from a year ago, August.
Yeah.
It's a little dated, but actually Shane shot that one, didn't he?
Yeah.
No,
That was
Oscar did.
Oscar did,
Yeah.
okay. Contact info, everything here looks okay. So any other comments on this landing, or what should be here?
Honestly, I think if you go to, this is one click in or?
This is the landing page. This is the,
Okay.
yep.
I almost wonder if we're going there, right? I don't know if we don't put the project mission
Yeah.
down below. Like, I'm almost thinking like if we land here in the direction that we're going, it should look like when you open up YouTube and it's just
Right.
videos, or so you have the slide, you have that walkthrough. We have the slideshow from Deliberatives.
So
and
if
then we're
we-
gonna produce 4 more videos.
If we click the video link, what's archived here are, this is old, right? Because it's basically Suzanne doing the community information sessions,
Yeah.
and then Kyle doing the needs assessment.
But we can add to that too. We can add recordings of our FIC meetings.
Yep.
We can we can add Mr. Oblenis on John Latcha. We can,
Imagine that.
I know, well, it was a good testimonial for why
Yeah.
we're doing this. We can, plus add the videos that we're creating.
Yeah. But I don't even think it should be in the videos page. I think that should be the landing spot.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, we still have the videos for this old stuff, but I think like if you open up the Reimagining GMS,
So go back to the
go back
homepage.
to the homepage. I think if you click there, Reimagining GMS, you have the old one, right? Right below it, we have,
Whatever the videos are that we're.
nope, we have these.
Okay,
These right below that, so you don't even have to scroll down. Then you start seeing thumbnails. You see that video. I mean, I'd shrink it down so it doesn't take up the whole
yeah,
page.
so that's one other piece of this is, like, I don't know why this appears in this video screen, right?
Yeah.
And then when you click on videos, you have the thumbnails. So
Right.
we'll have
Yeah.
to play with the way it's being presented. 'cause
Content
I-
should be at the bottom, not like in the middle of the page.
There should be a breadcrumb across the top that gives you the sidebar. Should also have a sidebar across the middle there that tells you, so you can click. So if you get
I'm too old. Breadcrumb?
a breadcrumb, it's the trail that you click as you click through the whole links. Any website.
Remember
you go
Hansel
to-
and Gretel?
I'm working on this.
Anywhere you go to for a website, if you click in, 6 pages, you're going shopping at Target, and you're clicking into Target, and you're going to check housewares, and you want to find paint, and you're looking for, it's going to take you into those places, and it follows a path for you, so that then you can click back to the beginning of that path as a quick and easy.
All I need to know, okay, now I see it.
Now
The
you-
word breadcrumb has caught me off guard, and I don't go to Target.
Target, it's really important shopping.
If I may just quickly, because if there's a page that's not necessary, we should probably get rid of it. So we have community participation page. And notice this ended back on April of
Right, I mean,
'22.
I thought the
So-
whole site needs a complete overhaul
It-
for where we are now.
Watch us on the YouTube channel, so maybe we need to add the link in, because it doesn't look like there's a link for this.
I ask a question. Would it make sense to have an archive of this, of where did we come from? Click here if you want more information about
The
Wayback
process.
Machine.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Oblenis went into the Wayback Machine to find all of the old information and data when he was looking for what we had. Do you want to know where we've been? Go click here and you're going to get back to this website, which is
And
an
then start
archive.
fresh.
And we start fresh with, here's the newest stuff with Article 1, here, because people are gonna get bogged down with all of this. Where do I click to find?
You'll
Yeah.
get distracted.
And by the way, I own that QR code, so if we change the website, just send it to me and I will go into.
You didn't pay for a QR code, did you?
No.
No, the one on the
If they even
flyer is
own-
just from
I wouldn't
Canva
put
generated.
The thing is, I wouldn't
Oh,
put a
you
lot of
can't
effort
even-
into
okay.
this. How many people you think will actually visit this once they receive the flyer?
I think a lot. I mean, we've been saying since we started this whole process, everything's available at Reimagine.
How many people have
GMS.
been visiting Reimagine GMS now?
Wow.
a lot.
We
Ron,
don't,
yeah.
Ron did.
we should add a counter to this, right?
Right.
So that we
Yeah, so
knew
we
that.
know,
But I hate to develop something new. I think we can archive within this and just keep, because this is already linked on our website, it's already
Yeah,
familiar.
revamp the homepage.
But
to have-
revamp and refresh, and, you know, when you produce the infographic videos, that's what we put on that page.
Yeah.
And those are splashes that people can, like, here's the current information, click, click, click. But then archive, you know, under videos, or even under community participation, I would change this to Facilities Improvement Committee meetings. Meetings are archived here, and we should be able to provide a link directly to the YouTube channel and the FIC meeting, so that people can take a look. The feasibility study is there. I mean, look, we have upcoming community dialogue sessions from 21 and 22,
Yeah.
so all of this has to be cleaned up.
Right.
Ideally, they should only go to these subpages if they want to. They should get everything that they need
On the
on that
homepage.
on that landing page.
Yep.
That's deliver session slides. I'd even say if they want to, put all 4 hours and 10 minutes. Just link the Litchfield SD, the Litchfield TV to the deliberative. Then we put up our videos that we're making. You know.
I'm thinking too, we have a, you know, for more information about the costs and the financing.
Yeah. When this is
That's another button that they can push if they
when
want
this
to dive
mailer
deeper
is
into
done,
that.
this mailer goes up as a PDF on
Yeah.
there.
But it's almost like all of this stuff should be, what did we do prior to the 23-24 school year? So click here if you wanna know what happened then, and then from the same front landing page.
But what got us here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what we have right now, here's the live information, here's the live videos, here's where we are currently. Go back to the Wayback Machine. I don't think we should spend a whole lot of time adding, subtracting, or deleting from this, because it's historical, and then anybody that wants to dig in can dig and dive. There's nothing that we're
So
hiding.
basically, instead of front ending it, we rework the
A new landing page.
not even the new landing page. Just stick with the current homepage, and we're just gonna and we're gonna have basically 2 pages: landing page and history of the project. So you get rid of videos, all that other stuff, and you just put it into history. We keep the landing page. I don't want to say wipe it, but you know,
We freshen it.
you freshen it. You move that mission down below, and then it's just
And
it's
I would
quick links.
propose
It's-
making a copy of the deliberative slides, deleting everything except for Article
Except for
1.
Article 1.
Yeah.
And it's just Article 1 deliberative
Right.
slide.
Yeah.
So we put an
And the
abbreviated
presentation
version here.
Up
Yeah.
to, and the video up to the end of Article 1.
Right.
We don't need to have the 4 hours. It can be the first.
Because it was only 3.
2 hours? 2. Oh,
I'm joking. It
No, I
was,
think we definitely wanna clean up that, and the beginning ones at the front and center, we want to be those short video clips that are
Yes.
gonna be produced, because if we get people to go to the site, and I'm with you, maybe they will, maybe they won't, the first thing they click on is gonna be the main thing, you know, if they click on something that's a 2-hour-long
right.
Yeah.
video of deliberative,
Wah,
that's,
wah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or if they get a 2-minute thing,
But I feel like I'm in middle school again. But I think the other place to go, having the information as a depository here is important, but also posting it to your social media, posting it to
Yes.
Facebook,
yes.
posting it to the district
Yeah.
Facebook, posting it to our Facebook and Campbell's Facebook. Because we have people that are looking at those pages.
yeah.
Having the school board post it to what's up, to those places we aren't.
And
Yeah.
that's part of the plan too with those informational videos is.
Yeah,
spread
those
far
videos
wide.
are meant to be straight to the social media.
kinda like one at a time, like every couple days type of thing.
And
Great.
hopefully repeat it on LCTV on a loop.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Remember, you're gonna have about 5 minutes to convince people when they're on the website.
Each video is targeted to be about 3.5 minutes long.
Just, you know, I'm going back to what Jen said, you need the landing page needs to be, what is it you want them to know to sell them?
Yeah.
Or convince them, or to inform them, maybe is a better word.
Right.
And anything else there is somewhat of a distraction. Particularly, you don't want to be clicking on things that take you in somewhere that gets you so confused, you give
Yeah.
up.
I agree.
That's why I think it should be that one-stop shopping, and also if we do these, like the videos right, if you have questions about, as we said, the structure, you're gonna click on a video that says building conditions. And we're gonna walk you through the building conditions. If you're wondering about the learning environment, you're gonna click on the video that we create that speaks to the learning environment. If you're one of the people that doesn't care about that, but you really care about financing, we're gonna have the finances video. We're gonna push them all out to everyone, but if anyone is particularly, they go to that landing page, it's right there, they can hopefully answer all their questions in
Is there, okay.
3.5-minute videos for each category that we wanna target.
What do we see being like the number one video? As far as like which one we're gonna push the most or kind of put in the most ideal location on the site?
Building conditions.
No.
No?
Nope.
Finances?
No.
Learning environment.
Learning environment. The only reason I'm voting for this, between you and the fence post, is because you convinced me that this building does not provide educational facilities adequate. It has nothing to do with the building condition.
I think it differs.
So,
It
I'm
differs
sorry,
from person to person, though. I think everybody has a different reason they're voting for or against it. So I kind of see them all four as equal billing.
I do think, to Ron's point, the word learning, I mean, that's really what this boils down
Right,
to.
that's why we're
You
here.
know, the financial argument supports learning. I think we just somehow have to keep that at the center.
Yeah.
and the reason, I'm sorry, if I heard,
No, you're good.
the reason being is if it was simply a matter of fixing the building, we can fix the building. You know, we wouldn't have the conversation. We would be going back to the reports to say, what do we need to do to fix the building? That's really what we'd be doing. And it would be a wholly different conversation. But it really is, the new building provides educational opportunities for the future that you don't have now, and we can't make the existing satisfied.
Yeah.
And that's really, and look, I don't have any kids going into school, never will. My kids are gone. But that's really the simple reason I will vote for it, is because it doesn't meet educational requirements.
So maybe,
Sorry to harp on that, but that's
And
what's
that, you can say the portable classroom right there alone says a lot,
yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
I remember we put those in, and
yeah,
there's no capacity,
right.
and then things have changed educational-wise, because you got a younger group in there. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Can't remember everything, I just know they're kids, they grow up. And I went to that school too, so it's not a thing. But I'm just saying, yeah, you gotta show why we got these portable classrooms. We got rid of the ones at LMS. We got 4, I believe,
we have 6 now at GMS.
6 now. Can't remember, it's been so long. Okay, and there's no space. There's no space. There's the whole thing. They should be part of the system. Okay, right now you got a group outside, you got a group inside. And all the kids on the outside gotta go in and out all day long.
It boils down to, if we don't, from my point of view, if we don't do this, we're adding portable classrooms, we're Band-Aiding it forever.
Yep.
But there will be expansion. And I price out the portable classrooms, they're almost on a square foot basis, cost of new. But yet it
And they're
doesn't
designed
solve
to be
it.
temporary.
And, exactly, then, so.
We can use it for the SAU.
So for laying purposes, now, I see where you're coming from, and I do agree that the other 3 videos support the learning environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's front and center, and then the 3 components.
Yeah, but I think if we, I don't know if it's necessarily a size and highlighting, because I think if we get them down to thumbnail size, you open up that page just like that, you can fit 4 of them, boop, 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 right there.
I think the other thing
Whatever you're looking for, you just click on that video.
that would be great, and I don't mean to make more work for you or the videographer. You have the 4 3-minute videos. You should have a 1-minute, like, high level. Reimagine GMS. Here's what it is. Like, as much as we've talked about it, as many committee meetings as I've been here. This is my 3rd year. Sat in a lot of meetings where we've talked about this. I think having that quick 1-minute hit, that people that don't need all the details.
That's our closing argument one.
You have a closing argument one.
Yeah, no testimonials, are just flashing and just.
Quick 1 minute fast hit that everybody gets.
That's our fourth
The
minute.
elevator speech. If you
Yes.
only had a
The elevator
minute in
speech-
the elevator with somebody,
It's,
how would
it's
you?
a quick hit, and then hopefully it's a bunch of people saying the time is now, the time is now, the time is now, the time is now. The time is now.
Don't use that. I'm sorry. The time is now, don't focus on that. It sounds a little too much to me. I agree that it's the right time to do it, but I'm afraid that it's a little too much in people's face.
Okay.
I really, to me is you convinced me the day we walked through, or the school itself convinced me. And that's what I'm just trying to highlight, that
But again, you're one person, Ron, so you're trying to get to the masses. And one of the things I'm thinking when you say the time is now, I'm thinking of $7 million in building aid.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
time is now.
well, but,
Next year. Not like, someone said it deliberative, you know, not today, but maybe tomorrow, but not next year or the year after. Well, that's tomorrow. So the time's now.
If I may, I just wanted, so Matt has joined us remotely. He typed in the chat, Ron is hitting the nail on the head. A renovation is not a good value, but it is still slightly cheaper. The real reason we need to make the extra investment is for the things we can't fix, which all relate to learning. And I think if that becomes part of our elevator piece, which is, it's about learning. And we zero on that. So all the other because you're right, Brian, I mean, there's so many what-ifs with building aid, right? But it's still, there'll be some building aid, maybe, and it could be more. But we have to fix the learning component. And do we want to go 2 or 3 more years kicking the learning component down the road? So that's the piece that I think we have to focus on.
So you
Learning,
folks are still
learning.
saying the time is now.
and Brian, I'm not discounting what you said. In fact, if you know, going back to my little 4 points, we started with education, then the building condition doesn't support education, needs to have all these repairs to it. And this is what I would, instead of the time is now, you might want to change it to, this is the lowest likely cost. And that's really, the other side of it is in the future, right now, we have the building aid, which will not be available to us after this year, in the foreseeable future. We look like we'll have the lowest construction cost combined with the lowest potential opportunity and interest cost, so the lowest total cost that we'll ever see. So this solves all the educational problems, it takes care of all, you know, the maintenance that is gonna be horrendous. It then allows us to go forward now with a guarantee of maximum price, and finally, it puts to bed all these issues related to talking about it, and allows us to focus then on education.
The time is now.
Yeah,
Ron just said the right thing, okay, and I'm gonna say, you know, the building aid is your big plus here. We don't know what the state's gonna do in the future. 2, construction cost is down a little bit right now,
right.
okay, that I will say. Your interest rates are good, that's a better thing for us right now.
Yep.
There even talk of them going down.
And that's why the split bonding will capture that, yep, you're right.
I think this is, everybody gets upset about the cost, well, you know, every time I open the door, there's something going on. But I think, all in all, it's not about trying to sell it, it's trying to look at the reasonable part of it all. This is the reasonable part. The cost of renovating the existing it's out of line, it's gonna cost you more. Okay, much more than you really realize it, especially the older sections, okay? Those are, slab work and everything else, all the way through. So, I'm gonna have to agree with Ron on this one. Sell it right, but don't push it right, you know what I'm saying?
So here's, the thinking with the videos was, we kind of have the 3 informative, if you will, you know, we're gonna talk about the building, we're gonna talk about the educational environment, we're gonna talk about financing. And then you have this fourth video, that's the short one, and that is, and the reason why we did the time is now is because that's that final elevator speech slash kind of rallying cry that gets us to the finish line. We're gonna release that one, you know, right around like that Thursday, that March 7th. And so that was, the time is now was meant more as that, like,
It's time to
the
vote.
motivation. This is where we're done instructing, and now we're into full 100% motivation. And so the time is now was just a very, it had been used, it had come up, and it seemed like the natural kind of, as I said, rallying cry.
Could I suggest maybe instead of saying the time is now, how about the opportunity is now?
Okay, yeah, so we just wanted something that we could,
Better choice of words.
yeah.
In that, if you use that, it says, okay, we have a chance to do it now.
Yep. All right.
So feedback on the flyer is going to who? It looks like, Jen, you're creating an alternate flyer.
Which might have sent to Dan, right?
I am working on one. I will take anything that you want me to
To
do.
funnel it in, if anyone has email, just email it to Tina and I,
Tina and Dan.
and then
Got
we'll
it.
coordinate with Jen, and then on Monday or Tuesday next week, we will send out an updated draft for second round.
And I'm going to, on the
Thank
reimagining site, so I will work on this, as soon as the voter guide is done. That's gotta take priority right now, so. And I'm also going to reach out to Karen Desjardins and ask for her help. So Michelle and I created that site. I have all the editing privileges on it. I'm gonna share it with Karen, because, it's relatively basic in its approach, but we can certainly church it up. So I'll work on that with Karen.
It's in a Google site, right?
It's a Google site. Yep. But if you have feedback on that site, get it to me. I think now that, I mean, I haven't looked at it in a while. Now that I looked at it, I'm a little embarrassed. Like,
Right.
it's, I didn't realize some of the other links, because every time, like, last year with the Riley land, I did those updates on there, and they work, they're clean, but they're outdated. They shouldn't be there any longer, so. All right,
By the way, it's her birthday today. Riley,
Mrs. Riley,
yeah.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Riley. All right, that's all I had for today. Was there any other updates?
So we will not have another facility meeting in February, because that'll be February vacation. It would be the fourth Wednesday, so, we won't be meeting then. So actually, we don't have another meeting before the vote. So I think, the idea that this committee serve as a, like, push information out and provide feedback back. So when I have the website updated, I will send a link to, or I'll send a reminder to everybody to take a look and give me feedback. It's live, but we can always make further adjustments, so.
Okay.
I'd like to apologize for not being here, because I do work part-time, and your timing is not in my time. 3:30,
We just appreciate you.
It's
being here.
tougher, I can imagine.
We appreciate you being here, Kevin,
Did
so,
Matt
thank
or
you.
anybody else online have any other comments or questions?
Matt, Keith, or Dave, Ely?
I guess we do this a lot, and I think your bonding is unique, and I like the discussion on that. I think that should be highlighted. That is really smart what you guys are up to, and we do this everywhere. I haven't seen it done like that. That seems to me like a big deal. That I know you guys are just smart folk that pulled it off, but yeah, I don't think you're patting yourselves on the back enough for it. It's pretty sharp. $10 million is real.
Real.
Thanks.
I agree with Keith. And I also might interject just one minor point. I think the $7 million school aid is very important, and we always see it in conjunction with the $42 million price tag of the school. I think if the $7 million building aid were put off by itself, it would have more impact and be less watered down than being next to a larger number like that.
That's good.
That
That's
makes
good
sense.
feedback. Yeah, thank you.
That makes sense.
I just wanted to say I really like the opportunities now. That's a great suggestion.
I'm glad we settled on it now because I got a bunch of staff that are lined up to say it on camera tomorrow, so I don't want to bring them all back.
They're gonna
Can
practice.
we redo this?
Need a script rewrite. All right. Anything else from anyone for the good of the group? All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, so made?
No.
No, wait.
Wait.
You already made it. Do I have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
On adjourning?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I haven't heard that one before, but.
All right, so our next meeting then will be the second week in March?
I had on the meeting.
That'd be the day after.
It would be the day after the
okay.
vote,
We didn't
so,
vote to adjourn.
I'm probably gonna be exhausted that day.
Okay,
I'll be in
that's
work.
fine. We will post,
we'll be in
post
touch.
it as needed.
Aye,
All right, all those in favor, aye. All opposed, all abstained. This
Thanks, guys.
0-0.
Thanks, guys.
appreciate it. Have a good night. Take care.
Ron,
You too.
why are we still in building committees?
Tina,
I don't know, because we had so much fun.
We were on the town hall one here.
Yeah, we were.
earlier
Yeah.
tonight, the script.
I didn't know that was out there till recently.
The